Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Trenches with Sterls and Rob. It is Tuesday night and we got some shit to talk about tonight. Stay tuned for the show tonight right here on the Rumblings Podcast Network. It is a privilege, it is an honor, and it's a fucking time. Rob, how are you, my dude?
It's a big day, man. Big day today. We're all enjoying our victory cup of coffee, our probably final victory Tuesday of the year, unless they end up getting flexed or something like that.
Yeah.
Get to enjoy the final victory Tuesday of the year, and news starts filtering down about the Jets, and then all of a sudden, Bean goes big baller on us.
He did. He went hard in the paint, man. You're right though. It's a great day to be a Bills fan. Not just because of the Amari Cooper news, but just it's twofold. It's like the Bills did the thing that we all know they needed to do, right? Which was trade for a wide receiver and just beat the Jets, So we're gonna talk about all that tonight, right here on the show.
Listen, I gotta start with, I feel like sometimes you don't like to say, you were right. So I just want to ask you, because when we got on this podcast last week, one of us was pretty beat up.
You talking about yourself, right?
No, definitely am not. Somebody took 2 losses in a row pretty hard. Sounded like he was on the verge of being out.
Being out of what?
Believing in this season. Yeah. And then one of us said, hey, man, if I told you played your first 5 games and lost a game to the Ravens and a game to the Texans on the road, you'd take it. Someone in the podcast said that if you beat the Jets, you go 2.5 games up in the division, 6 games in, you're going to start feeling a little better about yourself. 2 hardest division games out of the way. I just wondering if we're feeling a little better this week. Because I know you're not going to say, hey, Rob, you were right. So...
Well, I'm trying to figure, what were you right about?
That it wasn't that we were all right. Everything was okay. And I told you we would come back here tonight if it was a disaster, and we'd let them have it if they deserved it. You lose 3 games in a row, you lose to the Jets, you would have deserved it. And instead, we're opening the podcast with you telling me how good of a day it is.
All right. So what if I told you that I'm a generous man, and I'm going to go ahead and say you were right? You're right.
So you feeling a little bit better?
I do feel a little bit better. I do. Man, you're like, and I know I know what I'm about to say. Like, I know this. Being prisoner of the moment. And having 2 losses, the way they lost, man, it's hard to look at that team and go, Super Bowl? It's hard. It was hard. It's hard. I mean, even still, even with the Amari Cooper news, I still go, I don't know. It's possible, but I just don't know. Are we better? Yes. Are we better today than we were yesterday? Yeah.
Listen, man. You got your championship last year for Michigan. Let's use it as a litmus test here, right?
Say that again.
You believed in those boys.
I sure did.
Did you know?
Did I know? No, I didn't. I didn't know.
You can't.
Yeah.
Very rarely is a team so dominant that that they're going to win a Super Bowl, going to win a national championship, especially in football. But even in like basketball, that Warriors team that broke the regular season win record. Patriots went undefeated, right? Like, and then both didn't win championships. You never know. You don't know. But if you're feeling like I got to be honest with you, if you're feeling like they're Super Bowl contenders, I think that's maybe a different tune than you were singing 5 weeks ago.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think the goalposts have moved a little bit.
You think so, huh?
We were both talking about the possibility that this is a wild card team and how that's not terrible because they could make it to the Super Bowl from a wild card spot. Right?
Yeah, I mean, expectations have changed. And then, it's like, again, it goes back to what I was saying about being a prisoner of the moment. And you saw the Bills come out and smoke, get 3 wins, right? So at that point, after those 3 wins, the goalpost moved. I'm like, okay, maybe I was just what I thought I saw. I was wrong. Like, this team is playing way above expectation. And then it's like, oh, reality hits. They're coming back to earth. They get smacked around, especially by the Ravens, right? And then you go, okay, we still need wide receiver help. This defense is not healthy, and all the things, right? And you just get in a funk.
That was purely about how they lost, not that they lost, right?
They're one and the same right now. At that point,
no, they're not. They're not. No, that was about how they lost that game. That was the part that changed Bills Mafia from weeks 1 through 3. It was how they lost that game.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, let's take stock really what's happened since then, right? You realized you weren't physical enough stopping the run.
Right.
Your defense was a shell of what it was last year. And you realized you couldn't win on the outside at wide receiver. That got reinforced in the Houston game, no doubt. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now, 3 weeks later, let's take a look at those two things. TB has been playing out of his mind. We were sitting in that bar last night talking about what a difference he makes on the field.
Yeah.
That dude is all the way back.
All pro level even.
And the Bills defense is different for it.
Yeah.
Taron Johnson is a linebacker playing corner, dog. I mean, he is scraping in and filling holes like a linebacker does from his nickel cornerback position. It's incredible. And for the first time last night, I saw the national media talk about it.
Right.
Incredible. Taylor Rapp learned how to play safety. And guess what? All your reinforcements, not even back yet, dog. At Oliver in the next couple weeks. Von Miller a week after that. Matt Milano a week or 2 after that. I mean, okay. I'll go up against the Ravens again. I'll give it a second run. I'll give it a second try.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's
your other problem. You couldn't win on the outside. You didn't have a guy that could win on the outside. Now, is Amari Cooper Devontae Adams? No, he's not. But can Amari Cooper win on the outside? Bet your bottom dollar he can.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're 6 games into the season and I say you went 4-2 and you lost road games against Baltimore and Houston, and the one against Houston was, to quote Stephon Diggs, right there.
Right.
I mean, look at the smile on his face. You got to be feeling good right now.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I listen, I can't sit here and say that I'm not feeling well. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. And just hearing what you just said and you know it, but just hearing it, it's like it reinforces everything. Chris T says, "Go Bills." What's up, Chris? Thanks for watching the show. He says, "We got a faster Diggs without all that BS."
And listen, he was unhappy in Cleveland. There were some people who were commenting about his attitude in Cleveland. I mean, every wide receiver is going to come with a little bit of attitude,
Yeah, for sure.
especially if his headspace isn't good. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and we're gonna get to the Amari Cooper thing. Yeah, man. I feel like, you know, if everything goes, if like we don't have, back-breaking injuries and everybody comes back and is able to contribute to the level that we know they're capable of, I mean, yeah, you could throw the Bills right back in the mix for, being the dogs in the AFC. In a AFC, mind you, that is really wide open. I mean, there's not a team in the AFC that doesn't look beatable. They all look beatable. And I'm excited about that. I really am excited about that. Let's recap the game before we continue. But the
Okay.
Bills took on the New York Jets last night in the Meadowlands. And by the way, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the Rumblings Network. Not Buffalo Rumblings, the Rumblings Network. We got most of our shows back, and we're trying to grow this thing. So just do me a real quick solid. Go ahead and like it. Make sure you're following myself and Rob. Our handles are on the screen here, at Furrow Sterling and at Rob T Radio. And so back to the Jets. I think you and we talked on Sunday, and we were just thinking like, man, I don't know what to think about this game. Like we couldn't even like come to a solid agreement on how do we even bet this game, nor do we want to bet it. And listen, I mean, the game never felt out of hand, out of reach. I felt like the Bills had it together, but there's still some areas of concern with the team. They're not um, you know, a solid like across the board unit just yet. But man, there were some things about last night that got me positive. Um, and Ray Davis was a nice surprise last night. That dude, I don't know, man. He's not faster than James Cook, but what he is more sudden of a runner than James Cook, and he
Tell
has
you what,
better vision.
I'll tell you what he does faster than James Cook. Hit that damn hole.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if there's 3 yards to get there, he's taking the 3 yards.
Yep.
And not that James Cook dances a lot.
Right.
It's not that he has a problem, but I mean, downhill runner. And you can feel it on those drives where he starts getting momentum going. That offensive line starts going downhill. Big guys like Spencer Brown going downhill. Osiris Torrance going downhill. And you hand the ball to Ray Davis, and that's what the Ravens did to the Bills.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's still in football today, even though the game has changed, there is something different about getting downhill and demoralizing a defense. It affects you mentally in different ways. And you could see it last night.
Yeah, I mean, I was just impressed that they set the tone on the offensive line. Like they came out and set the tone, and we didn't see that the past 2 weeks. Deion Dawkins to Osiris Torrance, Connor McGovern. I mean, these guys played well. I mean, Spencer Brown had a lot of penalties, but like he played a good game. And you need that. You need the offensive line to come out and set the tone. It opens everything else up. It's vital.
It wasn't just setting the tone with their play too, though. Like there was a nasty to him. And
yeah,
you mentioned the Spencer Brown penalties. Listen, I don't like him taking penalties, but I don't mind him being up in their grill. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Josh was in their grill talking. Spencer was in their grill talking. And I don't know. I feel like at certain times this team has missed an edge like that. On the defensive side, Poe used to bring it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, who is that tone setter? Like, we are going to come in and punch you in the mouth. And if Spencer Brown wants to be that guy, there's nobody better than a whatever 6'7", 350-pound dude to get in some people's faces. So
Yeah. I like Josh's game. I felt like he got back to the fundamentals of doing what what the offense was created to be, which was make smart plays. You're not putting the ball at risk. Move the ball, take what's open, get down the field. It's dink and dunk, but you're getting down the field. And I felt like he executed that. And when he does that well, it opens up everything else.
did you get to watch the tape yet? So I have not had a chance to watch the All-22.
No, I have not watched it. I will be watching it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Because to me, there were times that what you were saying was true, but I also felt like he reached for a couple second plays when he could have just taken the profit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And we have talked about that past couple losses, right? It's just take what that defense gives you. And he pushed it a couple times, and I know he's Josh. That's part of the experience. You're gonna get that,
Right.
But he took a couple hits I didn't want him to take. I thought it was good, not great, is kind of what I'm getting at. It was certainly an improvement over the Houston game, but I think he's got to get back in sync with Brady a little bit here. And I know Joe Brady, I've heard from a lot of people that one of the things that they like that he does is he runs plays that the guys like to run. And so maybe it's, them going back through and figuring out what those plays are that they both like when he calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's a little bit more that they can get in sync there.
Don't you always feel like that with Josh and
not during
this offense?
Not during the Jaguars game.
Well, that was that was on another level.
Well, I mean, so you said, don't you always feel like that? Not always, and not even always this season.
Like
it felt like that during the Cardinal game, especially the first half. Felt like they were feeling it out a little bit, kicking the season off. In the Miami game, they were just so dominant early that they just never needed to try to get into a rhythm like that. Like they were just all over it. In that Jags game, it felt you could feel the rhythm. You know what I mean? It felt right. And then it hasn't since. And I still don't think it did last night. I think there's more for that offense, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, this offensive regime is not there's a lot left on the bone. And I think that's what's positive in some regard, that there's still opportunity for the offense to be better. But no, I like what Josh did last night. I felt like, given the circumstances, I think he played a good game. Now, I'll agree. The chemistry between him and Brady needs to improve. Like the play calling at times needs to improve. But it's, again, like we talked last week. It's still early in the season. There's time. There's still time. I'll reserve judgment fully until
100%.
They kind of figure that out.
Still good. Like I'm not saying wasn't good. Good, not great is all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I liked it though. It was very. I mean, I can't wait to watch all 22 and kind of really see how it all played apart. But yeah, no, it was nice. We did see a concerted effort though, that they tried to make Samuel part of this offense, which was great. I think that's the way. Make him a part of this offense. Try to get him the ball. There was an effort there. It was an effort.
I think this was the last week that you see that, dog.
Man.
I'm dead serious. I think this is the last week that you see.
Hey, everybody eats is is dead. It's dead.
I think he's gonna find himself in a very comfortable fourth wide receiver role And I think you stop seeing play calls that are specifically for him. Because
Yeah.
I think through the first month and a half of the season, they have tried to force the action a little bit with him, and it hasn't happened. Hadn't been there.
I want to see his targets become more downfield than at or behind the line of scrimmage. I think that's part
Well,
of the
that's what I'm
problem.
saying. Like, I don't think they call stuff for him anymore in that sense. And so, yeah, I think you'll see more of that because he'll be in for a play for Keon Coleman, and they're not going to change. He's not going to change what he calls. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you will see more downfield targets for him.
Let's switch to the defense a little bit. The run defense it's bad. I think we should go ahead and just say, hey, yeah, it's not that good right now. It's not.
Okay.
Right. Part of that's no Ed. Right. Um, Part of that is I feel like you don't have enough athleticism on the edges of the line, but I think it's something we're just gonna have to live with this season for now.
I mean, how has this team since McDermott got here survived?
The back end, second level.
Bend but don't break.
Yeah.
You can drive it all the way down. You can run that ball all the way down the field on us if you want. And what ended up happening all but one time when the Jets, because they did, I mean, they moved the ball on you. But every single series except for one, what ended up happening? You're trotting out for a field goal. And if this team, that's all that defense has to do. I don't need you to be groundbreaking to change the world. I just need you to hold them to field goals and bet that Josh can score 6, while they're scoring 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you don't.
I mean, I want to see more from the run defense, though. I do. I mean, I get it's a bend don't break defense, as long as you're not giving up big plays and you can kind of get stingy when it comes to the red zone, etc. I mean, yeah, that's ideally. I mean, that's what this defense is designed to do. However, we've seen better run defenses in Sean McDermott era than we've seen now. And this season, I think it's a problem.
Your talent's not the same though. Like
Right.
we're just getting the talent back.
Well, not really. Ed's not back yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
the talent's not there. You were without Ed, you were without Taryn, you were without TB, you're without Milano. Like those guys make a difference in the run game. Part of what he does, part of what that defense is designed to do is to say, we're going to play the pass first. And then I'm going to count on my superior athletes who have incredible diagnosing skills to be there to stop the run. And just don't let them murder us with it. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have light boxes all the time. That's what they do.
Right. Let me see here. I am looking for rush yards per game. The Bills are 23rd. They're at 140 yards per game right now.
Devon Achane had a huge game against them. Did it matter?
Nah, I mean, Tua went out, and that was all she wrote.
No. That was even before that, though. I mean, they couldn't move the ball before that. That's what the defense is designed to do. So would you rather give up 140 on the ground or 300 passing?
140 on the ground.
There you go. I'll give up 150 on the ground.
I mean, I don't want to give up any damn yards at all, ever.
I'll give up 150 on the ground every week. That is what this defense is designed to do.
You see, folks, you see what this man is coming here trying to do? He's trying to come in here and just be all positive. And in real life, that's not him. He's the opposite when it comes to the Bills.
No, man. I tell you like it is. That is what I do. That's who I am.
Uh,
And
uh,
right now, I feel pretty good about the boys and where they're at. Now, you want to get into the negatives. I can get into the things that I think are negatives. Run defense, you could say, is one of them. It's just I'm realistic about that's what this defense is designed for. So I'm not asking them. I'm asking them to win football games. That's what I'm asking them to do.
yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you want me to get negative? I'll get negative with you.
No, I mean, listen, it's a nice yin and yang we got going on here. Okay, so we discussed the run defense. Let's talk about impact players. Taron Johnson, man, it's a it's like, we took it for granted. Not Taron Johnson per se, but just the talent that this defense has been putting on the field the past few years. When those players like Milano and Taron Johnson and Poyer and Hyde in their prime, when those guys aren't available, you really notice a difference just in the playmaking ability alone. We saw Terrell Bernard with a fantastic interception last week. We saw him fit the run extremely well this week. You got other guys making plays like, and I hate mentioning his name, but Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp came in and had some impact on the game, which I'm not an extreme fan on.
But you got
It
to
was
give him
nice
his
to see.
flowers.
Got to give him his props. He played a great game last night. Great game.
I mean, several. I would say probably 3 game-changing plays.
Yeah.
Including the hit in the end zone to jar the ball loose, including the tackle when he was the only guy left on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
That turns from 7 into 3 into nothing, right?
Yeah.
They end up missing that field goal, so it ends up being 0 points.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right? Isn't that the right drive?
Yeah.
I mean, like game-changing plays. And yeah, you still hold your breath every time he comes flying in there because it is just reckless abandon. But if he's in the right spots playing with reckless abandon, you saw what he can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He definitely deserves a bunch of credit. He played great.
Let's see. Who, I felt like Benford had his toughest matchup this week.
Yep.
Benford had he played a good game, but Garrett Wilson had some nice reps against him. Very nice reps against him.
And I think we're all thrilled Devontae Adams wasn't on the other side, at least for now, right?
For now, right. But overall, man, I mean, in reality, in total, I mean, the Bills only allowed 20 points. And if in today's NFL, and if that's all you allow, that's
Bills
I'll
didn't
take
even
that.
allow 20 points.
Huh?
I mean, the Bills didn't even allow 20 points. If we're going to play a hypothetical game, say they make those 2 field goals. All right, fine. But I mean, that does the Hail Mary count? Like there's a whole discussion we need to have about the Hail Mary. But I mean, are you really counting that against the defense?
Yeah, I am.
I'm not.
How are you not? Who's taking the responsibility for that?
The coaches need to take the responsibility.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, man. Late game, another fucking blunder. Luckily it wasn't fourth quarter, but halftime. I mean, those things are inexcusable. McDermott said after the game they were wanting to protect the sidelines, and I just, oh man, it's one of those things where we can sit here and talk about the prospects of the Bills going above our expectations and being the team in the postseason. But when it comes to making those decisions in crunch time, that's where I think when the Bills lose, it's because of coaching. It is coaching.
I mean, did you hear what Aaron Rodgers said about it afterwards?
What'd he say?
He's like, oh, they decided to only rush 2, so I had plenty of time. I got to put the ball right where I wanted to put it. I mean, it's literally the other team's quarterback saying to you, like, thanks, dog. Appreciate that.
Bruh. I did
I
not catch
mean,
that. I did not catch that.
you're rushing
Yeah,
two?
two players. Two.
I mean, at least three, but I would even rush four. I don't
Four.
get this fascination with playing a different defense. Your defense is designed to not give up that play all the time. That's
Oh
what,
man.
like, if they could hit that play on against your regular defense, they'd run it every play, right? A
Right.
long bong touchdown, they'd run that every play if there was a high success rate. But there's not, because your defense is designed to stop. Run your regular defense. Why are we trying to get cute? What are you trying to prove?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I can respect you trying it to see if it works.
I can't.
All I can say is this. Get it all out your system, because I do not want to see this team have an issue in the playoffs. That when it don't lose because of that. That shit is inexcusable. It is.
My man, how many times we got to talk about the pattern?
I know, God.
It's not, you're acting like it's going to get out of their, what do you mean get out of their system?
That's me being hopeful. That's me being hopeful that they can freaking figure this out to where
And
it's
you said that
embarrassing.
I was
It's
all
embarrassing.
positive and not negative and blah, blah, blah. No, man, I'm just realistic. And realistically, this is the same problem that they've had over and over again. We spent the entire last show on it talking about
yeah.
the blunders.
Yeah.
And here we are again, once again, having a conversation about end of half, end of game, and that they just pee right down their leg every time.
Yeah, and you know, the what makes this unbearable is that the Bills win a lot of football games. So these moments happen a lot. I just don't feel like they're magnified because the Bills win most of the time. But these issues, man, McDermott's got to take a fine look at himself in the mirror and say, when is enough enough? And I don't know if that will actually happen. I don't have confidence in McDermott late in games. I have confidence in him putting a team together. I have confidence in him, you know, from a leadership perspective. I don't have confidence in McDermott when it comes to managing games late, especially. And it's and here's what it is, dude. I feel like in the regular season, I feel like your offense gets you to the playoffs. In the playoffs, your defense will win you a game or two, but your coaching takes you the rest of the way. Your coaching has to be there, and I feel like that's a weakness for the Bills. It's a weakness right now. Two young coordinators and a head coach that pisses down his leg when in crunch time. Can't have it, man. Can't have it. You're looking at me like, I told you, dog.
I just don't know what else to say about it, man.
I know, right? I know. How much time can you exhaust with it?
It's there are people who have it under pressure and there are people who don't.
Right.
And everybody's going to say, hey, he wasn't on the field. You know, he was just calling. He didn't even call it. Babbage probably called the defense, blah, 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 whatever. He's the head coach. Like it's on him. And it is just consistently a problem. And some people just don't have it. That's all. That's all I can say. It's terrifying. It's terrifying because it's prime years of Josh Allen. And I mean, to the point of what we're about to talk about, you know, the clock's ticking. That's why you go out and do what you did.
Yeah, it is ticking. And I'm listen, we can start talking about Amari Cooper right now. For those of you who are living under a rock, the Bills traded for Amari Cooper today. And they get Cooper. They give up a 3rd round pick and a 7th, right? 3rd and 7th.
Yes. They essentially flipped a 7 for a 6.
Yeah.
So they upgraded their 7th round pick and they gave up a third.
So I look, thoughts on the move. I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts on the Bills trading for Amari Cooper? Thoughts?
I think this is a trade for your offense and for your defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is designed to allow your offense to put your defense in situations where it does what it can do best more often. And that is play with a lead. Make these guys feel like they have to throw against you. Because what's the best part of your defense? Letting Von Miller and Groot tee off and letting your coverage be elite.
Right.
And Rasul Douglas, he had a tougher game last night than Benford, but has been excellent throughout the year. Benford has been excellent throughout the year. Safeties have been good enough. Linebackers and coverage. I mean, TB, you know how I feel about him. Dorian
Right.
Williams, you know how I feel
Mm-hmm.
about him.
Mm-hmm.
Taron Johnson, elite nickel corner. And so let your defense do what it does best. And the way that you do that is score.
Yeah.
So I think this trade is as much about making the defense better as it is about making the offense better. They needed another competent pass catcher. I don't think he's the best guy that you could have gone and gotten, but he's the best guy you could have gone and gotten for that price. And I think his presence on that field is just going to make everybody across the board better. You slide everybody into a much more comfortable spot when you slot him in as the number one wide receiver in that room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the room definitely looks a lot better. And I think, not only does it look better, but it's going to open up a lot of things. Now you get the middle of the field open again because you saw teams, we saw, the past few weeks, single high safety, man coverage on the outside. We're going to put people and take away the middle of the field, right? So, you're not going to see guys like Shakir and Kincaid pop off because they are middle of the field specialists. But now that you have a viable threat on the outside, it's going to help guys like Keon Coleman, take a little bit of attention off of other guys and open things up for the entire offense. Now, Keon is going against CB2 instead of CB1, right? So, I mean, he has his own things that he needs to work on, but it's definitely going to make some more favorable matchups on the outside. Now you got, and I was looking for the Bills third down percentage. I'm trying to find it here. Because that is an area of concern. Is their third down percentages have to be pretty low. I can't find it right now, but so we're bringing that up is that Amari Cooper is going to help that. You're going to have, to your point, you're going to have the offense stay on the field a little bit longer, have more extended drives, and I think once you add a guy like Amari Cooper to this offense, it definitely makes everybody better for sure.
Here's the big question for me is our biggest concern when we were talking about this is how is this team going to integrate him?
Yep.
And the answer needs to be fully and completely immediately. Right? But McDermott just kind of has a history of not being comfortable with that. And I think last year when they traded for Rasul Douglas, I think maybe Bean had a little bit of a come to Jesus with him. Like, listen, man, I'm trading for a Pro Bowl level guy. You're going to put him on the field and you're going to trust him, even if he doesn't completely know the system. And I think the same thing goes for Amari this year. Is he might blow some routes. He might not know exactly where he needs to be every single time, but put him out on that field and use him because I'm trading for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the interesting thing is to see if they are willing to let him be a difference maker on the field.
All right, so I have those stats for you. So, in 2024, right now, the Bills are 24th in the league on third down at 34.33%. Their last 3 games, they're 28.95. And at home, they are 45%, and away, they are 29.79%. So that third, I think that should be an area of improvement now that you've added a viable threat on the outside. Let me answer this question from my guy Dave. He says, "What kickers are available?" Because Tyler Bass is ass. And to answer your question, there's 3 kickers that are current free agents right now. Brandon McManus, he's 33 years old. Previously with the Commanders. Randy Bullock, 34 years old, from the Giants. And Riley Patterson, 26-year-old, also from the Commanders. So those are the 3 kickers that are free agents. Thoughts on Tyler Bass? I mean, I don't listen. He's been terrible this season. I just don't know. I feel like due to the contract, I feel like they're stuck with him this year. But I would love another kicker, but they're stuck with him this year. I don't see them moving off from Tyler Bass this year.
I don't think so. I think you do whatever you got to do. Even if you need to restructure a deal, because it is in his head.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot put a game in that man's hands. You can't do it. For the other 52 guys on the roster, you cannot do it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because you hate to talk about a kid that way. He's still young, but he's shook. I mean, he's shook.
Oh, McManus signed with the Packers. He gone.
That's
I mean, the Bills weren't moving.
The name I like there.
I mean, we know him from out here, the Broncos, but I mean, yeah, man, it's bad.
You lost a year of prime Josh Allen last year. And there are several things that we can point to, but one of them is because of a kicker.
Yeah.
I don't care how much it costs you. You can't. You cannot.
Yeah. We might as well caution everybody. Don't be mad in the playoffs if the Bills say they pass on that field goal and then go for it, because there is no way. I mean, that's like you said. Ain't no way in hell I'm letting Tyler Bass on that field with the game on the line. There ain't no fucking way. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it.
There are going to be situations where you have to. There are going to be situations where you have to. So you better find a better answer than I'm not putting him out there, because that ain't gonna work. And in this league, watching as much football as I watch, college kickers banging 50-yard field goals, no problem. NFL kickers, automatic from 50 plus. Automatic. Like, it feels like it is a foregone conclusion for everybody except for the Buffalo Bills. And that is not a place where you need a championship contender.
Man, dog. Tyler Bass's best season was, let's see, his rookie season. 27-31, 87%. And his percentage has gone down. It's gone down. I mean, right now he's at 75%. Extra points, he's 32nd in the league with 90%. I mean, come on, guys. Like,
I just don't. You can't do it. Doesn't matter what it costs you.
So I take that back. His best years are 21 and 22. He was dynamite those 2 years. He's 9-12 this season. I mean, he's got to be better. Tyler's got to be better, man. And I'm tired of talking about him, to be honest. Because this is happening way too much. Way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing there is to say about it. You can't have it.
Let me ask you a question. Bills got Amari Cooper. We're still waiting to see. Happy that he's here. Just wanting to know like how he will be implemented by Joe Brady into this offense. Um, the question though is, do you think Brandon Bean is done with any trades up until the trade deadline? Do you think they're done?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah. And I've heard rumblings that people think a pass rusher is still on the table.
I haven't heard that.
What's that?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I don't think it's true. You know, that's the other one is Hamlin. I think there could be a Micah Hyde sighting at some point, but I don't think there's any more trades coming down. Why do you?
No, I don't have any intel.
No, but I mean, just do you think that that's still something they would do?
I think they're done. I mean, because it's got to fit into the cap, and I think there are things they could do to make the numbers work, but unless there's some like injury or like a sweet situation, guy becomes available on the defense. Safety would be an area of concern, but I'd say um, pass rusher would be a need, but I just don't know teams that are just going to give away a pass rusher. That's a premium position, and teams don't give that away. So, you're getting Milano back, and Dorian is playing well. So I don't think you're going to get a linebacker. You don't need corner. So what else are you going to do, right? So I think they're done. I think they're done at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you could find me a defensive lineman that you want for up the middle, they rotate enough that yeah, I could see them doing something like that. But I don't think that there's an edge rusher. I mean, you talk about guys like Crosby and Josh Allen and all them, but like you said, those are franchise cornerstone pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not moving off of them unless you're ready to hand over the farm, and even then might not be willing to. So yeah, I don't see them. I think their O-line depth is good. I like their O-line depth. They're stacked at tight end. They made a deal for a wide receiver. Running back room looks great. Feel good about their corners and their corner depth. Safety is the biggest question to me. I think pass rusher, they're counting on Vaughn to come back. Linebackers, you have reinforcements coming. Yeah, I don't see them making another move.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard to and who would you get? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't see the Bills giving up, premium picks to get a pass rusher. I don't know who they'd get. I mean, you would have to look on one of these bottom feeder teams and see what they have available. And I just don't know if if that's feasible for them right now. I mean, I'm looking over some rosters right now, and I mean,
who's the second best pass rusher on the Browns? Right, like that's the kind of stuff.
Zadarius Smith.
Right. How old is he now?
Oh, he's got to be 32.
I think maybe even older than that.
Maybe even older than that.
That is one of the things that I like about Cooper, by the way, too. A couple years younger than Devontae Adams.
Yeah, 30 years old. He'll turn 31 in the off season.
Yeah.
June.
So then let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a conversation to be had, probably at a later time, about the Bills telling us that we were all crazy for saying that they didn't have enough in the wide receiver room. That they liked their guys, they liked their room. Mm-hmm. Clearly they didn't. Now, they're not going to say that out loud, probably, right?
Right.
But their actions have told us that if you were looking at making that trade, because they've been at it for a couple weeks. This did not come together last night. You know what I mean? So if in the first month of the season you're already looking to add to that wide receiver room, that means that you weren't happy with it coming into the year,
Right.
regardless of what you say.
Correct.
But you and I so that's maybe a conversation for another time. But you and I just went through the roster, and you found no holes, no significant holes in that roster construction.
We're talking in season, or we're talking,
in season for
in
this
season
year.
for this year for the Bills right now.
Yeah.
Holes. Outside, I mean, I still think you're fine at receiver now. I still think long term you definitely need, but defensive end is a concern. It's a concern to me. It's your defensive line is still not whole. Even though we're missing Ed, I still feel like the defensive line is inconsistent. I mean, you know, when we haven't heard Groot's name being called
When did
very
that go
much.
away?
Huh?
When did that go away? When did his
Uh
name stop getting called?
Baltimore. Baltimore.
When Von Miller went away?
Yeah. Yeah.
When Ed Oliver went away?
I mean, I guess. Yeah, you could look at it that way. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're sliding protection to one guy. There's one guy on that defensive line right now that's a threat. And it's because your two best pass rushers are no longer there. So, yes, it's an excuse, but I think it's fair context to
It's
say
fair. It's fair.
because, like, if you go back and watch the tape of those first couple games for Groot, I mean, defensive player of the week, right? Like, don't forget. And so, just like when we were talking about Balen Spector and Dorian Williams playing linebacker, we're saying, like, all right, just kind of try to stem the tide a little bit here. Reinforcements are coming. That's kind of how I feel about the Groot situation.
I hope you're right. I mean, you are optimistic about that. We've seen some really, really good moments from him.
Right? There is tangible proof that it works. Can I get you to agree to that?
I'll agree to that. I'll agree to that.
Tangible proof that works.
Yeah.
It's not just hope. It's not just optimism. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now listen, is everybody the same when they come back? Who knows? You hope Vaughn is, right?
Yeah,
month
Vaughn
off
will be
in the
fine.
Middle of the season might not be bad for him.
Right. I think it's a blessing in disguise.
It might be. Ed Oliver, who knows, right? Is he 100% when he comes back? Can he still affect the pocket the way that you want him to by pushing up the middle? All valid questions. But there is proof that the system and the players that they have when all together do work. So it leads me to this, and I know we're getting on here towards the end of this podcast, but this was the question that I wanted to ask you and something that I wanted to say about it. I was originally not for them making a trade for a wide receiver. Over the last 3 weeks, my mind has changed about that. I think that's how a lot of people felt. Right?
Yeah.
They've now addressed that need with a guy who is not Devontae Adams, right? A guy who is not an all-world player, but just a real good wide receiver, right? And still, sitting here today, I feel like this is their best chance to win a Super Bowl since 21, since 13 seconds.
I agree to that. I agree. And you know what's something that I mean, I don't know if it's crossed your mind, but the fact that the Jets got Devontae and the Bills got Amari, what does that do to the Chiefs?
That is part of it. And I was going to say,
it's great.
Looking at the rest of the AFC, I'm not afraid of anybody. Like, I understand that the Ravens handed it to us. I get it. I am not afraid of them.
Right. A few adjustments in that game isn't going out of control.
How about 5 of my defensive starters back, and that game probably goes differently.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I I have plenty of respect for the Ravens. Don't get me wrong;
Sure.
they
You're
are a
right.
very good team.
But they're
But
beatable.
I'm not afraid of playing them in the playoffs. I'm not afraid of them. And the way that the Chiefs have played, yes, you can say it doesn't matter how you win them; it matters that you win them, and that's 100% true. But have you watched them play? I'm not afraid of them neither.
Yeah, right. For real.
Right. The Bengals, did you see that Sunday night football game? And I think they make the playoffs, but did you see that Sunday night football game?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what should the score of that Bills-Jets game what really should that score have been?
31-13.
They should have killed them.
31-13.
It should have been a massacre like the other Monday night football game. Okay?
So to your point, 2 of those touchdowns, the Hail Mary, get that out of there. And the one that he threw to Gary Wilson was the same drive as the Epinesa phantom call, that stupid ass call that gave them breath again, right?
And listen, the refs were awful last night.
They were bad.
Both ways. Like the Bills got calls they should not have, and the Jets got calls they should not have. But I ain't afraid of the Jets. The Dolphins we're inside the Dolphins' heads. Don't act like we're not. We 100% are. I know they got new players. All bro Poe can say whatever he wants, but the Bills are absolutely inside the Dolphins' heads. I think the Steelers are always going to come out and play tough physical football, but I am not afraid of their quarterbacks. Broncos, too young. Chargers, they're going to play a tough brand of football, but I don't think that defense is good enough. I don't think they have enough weapons. I mean, who? And the answer is nobody.
Right.
You've got a witch in Kansas City, and you got to figure out how to beat him. That's it. But other than that, like since the 13 seconds game, and you gave me a hard time last week for still being positive. I think the most complete team might be the Houston Texans, and that doesn't mean that they're playoff tested. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know, dog. I mean, looking at it from 1,000-foot view, it feels like to me addressing that need. If you can get this team, and they always hit some kind of mid-season lull. We talk about it a lot.
Right.
If their mid-season lull was 2 games ago, and they cruise from here, like, come on, dog. Come on.
Yeah. So let me add something to where we're going, and we're gonna before we end the show. But there's a couple names that I think if the Bills are serious about making a trade, there's 2 teams that they need to call for a defensive end. One, you could go call the Carolina Panthers, and you can get Jadeveon Clowney. Okay. Now, Jadeveon Clowney's, you don't need him to start, but you need him in the role that was occupied by Leonard Floyd last year. And I think he could do the job. He did it very well with the Ravens last year. He could be had, right? And not expensive. You can make the cap work. The second team that I would call would be the New Orleans Saints. And
gotta go get you some Chase Young, boy.
Well, there we go. So here we go. So the Saints have 3 prospects here. Chase Young would be one of them. Now his cap hit is $3.46 million. No, 3.4.
He's on a 1-year prove it deal.
He's on a 1-year prove it deal. He's 25 years old. I think someone of his caliber would be a perfect fit. Again, this isn't like blowing the door down. Okay, this is just we could really use him. I mean, you get pass rush ability and someone when motivated can be effective in the run game. Okay, but also there's
don't
if you want to get crazy,
that man is not leaving. That man is not.
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you that Cam Jordan, he has a $13 million cap hit. The Bills would have to do some roster gymnastics, cap gymnastics, manipulation, if you will. Now,
that man is not leaving that city.
He's probably not, but
there ain't no way.
I'm just telling you that the Saints, listen, when teams start losing, what happens? The fire sale happens. Or you could look at Carl Granderson. I think those are 3 guys that if you're needing a pass rusher, go look at one of those 3 guys. I would love Chase Young, because that's cheap. Carl Granderson is doable
listen,
as well.
But if you're going and getting a Young or a Clowney, you're not doing it for pass rush ability. And don't get me wrong, those guys can rush the passer, but you're not doing it because they're going to come in and give you a whole bunch of sacks. You're doing that to shore up your run game. You're doing that to get more bigger and more physical.
And pass rush potential. Like you get more potential.
Yeah,
you get more pass rush potential out of those guys. So I mean, yeah, you listen. If Epinesa can be consistent, that'll help. And if when Vaughn comes back and he can do what he was doing before, I think that'll help. I think that'll open up a lot of guys. But yeah, I mean, pass rush would be the position I had.
I got to talk to your boy Walter here.
This comment here.
I got to talk to your boy Walter here. He says he's got a couple comments. One says there's tangible proof that Groot is underwhelming as a pass rusher. 4 years of proof.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
Now listen, you want to talk about results? That's fine. You can. But when you are trying to find a generational type talent as a defensive end, the difference between finding the tippy top tier and finding good pass rushers is the Grand freaking Canyon. Okay? Groot is a good pass rusher. Groot has constantly won one-on-one battles. And there's two types of things that you could look for in a pass rusher. You're looking for the guy who can beat one-on-ones, and you're looking for the guy who can beat double teams. Those are the generational guys. Those are the Von Millers and the TJ Watts and the Myles Garretts. There's a handful of them in the league at any given time. Is Groot one of those guys? No, he's not. You're right. He's not one of those guys. But you need the guy who can win one-on-one. And Groot, through the first couple weeks, showed you he is the guy that can win one-on-one. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Has done it consistently. Now, he doesn't have any help. Nobody's left there. There's no Ed Oliver to eat up a double team. There's no Von Miller to eat up a double team. So protection's sliding to him, and he's getting neutralized. But he's still a good pass rusher. And then to your second comment, Walter, that you don't think he's worth the money he's going to demand. Yeah, most guys aren't, if we're being totally honest. But that's kind of the way free agency works. You overpay for whoever that person is.
Right.
He's not a generational guy, no. But that's
he's not.
Conversation. It's not a conversation for right now. It's a conversation for the offseason.
Absolutely.
You have him this year, and he is an excellent pass rusher. You need to find ways to put other pass rushers around him to make somebody a threat.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Groot's a great. I think he's good. He's very good. I'm not worried about Groot in his defense. You look at Epinesa's sacks, I think, are because of the protection being slid over to his side, which 100%. frees up, Epinesa to have one-on-one with Tyron Smith, right? And so, yeah, I mean,
because Casey Toohill is not demanding a double team,
right?
And neither is Daquan Jones or whoever else, right?
Right.
So, if Epinesa is getting free, why do you think that is? You think it's because Epinesa is beating double team, or is he beating a one-on-one because Groot's getting double teamed? Which one of those things do you think is more likely? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, hey, but no, Walter, we appreciate you chiming in here.
100%. That wasn't a shot at you, Walter.
No,
I'm just
saying. No, it's viable, man. I mean, shit. I can't wait to see what happens this weekend, though. I can't wait to see what this game looks like against Tennessee. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to not intentional grounding, but Inside the Trenches. We're gonna do intentional grounding a little overtime here in about 30 minutes. But this is the Rumblings Podcast Network. that we're on, and it's growing, man. Like our little numbers are growing each show,
Oh,
man. It's all growing, and it's exciting to be here, be back doing the Rumblings thing. I need to get Bruce on here. I'm gonna see if Bruce wants to hop on next week, and chat with us a little bit. You know,
Yeah, we'll put up the Wizard of Oz curtain and just let him kind of
just let him riff, man. Yeah, but I definitely need to. We're gonna use this platform here. I want to get more guests on this show, just to get some more perspectives on here, and it's always fun to have guests. So I'll start working on that. But man, this has been fun. Like, be excited. Be freaking excited about what the Bills are doing. And like Rob, like you mentioned, it's wide open. It's freaking wide open this season in the AFC. And Houston's beatable. Kansas City's beatable. Like, I'm not even tripping right now.
They're right there.
Right there.
It's going to be little things that make the difference in the AFC because there's so many good teams. It's going to be little things that make the difference.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for the show tonight. Again, this has been a pleasure. This is Inside the Trenches with Sterls and Rob right here on the Rumblings Podcast Network. We will be back next week to talk about another Bills win against Tennessee. I'm calling it right now. The Bills are going to beat the Titans. I'm calling it. Don't know if Amari's going to play, but they're still beating the Titans. With that being said, Sterls and negative Rob over there. Rob, you don't need to defend yourself. I got you.
No, it's fine. Let's just do the outro here. Go Bills.
Hey, go Bills, and we out of here, man.